good evening, good morning, and good afternoon for anybody tuning in at this point in time. And if you clicked on the video today, you also already know what the topic of it is. What if Spider-Man and Batman switch places? And I mean specifically Gotham and Manhattan, New York City. And for the sake of this video, as much as I want to talk about these comic books, like comic book characters in general, I'm going to stick specifically between Arkham Knight Batman and PS4 Spider-Man. And shout out to my brother, by the way, because he actually requested that I do a video on this. So
a lot.
Yeah, he did. I'm sorry. We had a whole conversation about it, and it was like a week long. So Isaiah, this is for you. Now, I love everybody on this platform, but I feel like the comments, if I have any later, are going to be screeching with pistivity. In my opinion, if they switch places, Batman's getting bodied. I swear, no. I mean, he's going to get killed. And Spider-Man is going to become a murderer. A murderer. And I have a lot for me to back up on this. Now, if we're sticking with just games, that means their villains, each one, flip it. We're flipping the script on everything. Because you already know, first off, when they both get to where they are, they're going to both end up trying to analyze where they are first. So Batman's going to figure out where he is, and Spider-Man's going to figure out where he is. Now, running into their villains, right off the bat, I'm going to start at the bottom of the list for Batman. So at the bottom, we have Shocker. Not too bad. Not really, like, I ain't going to say he's mid, nor is he high difficulty. He's more like low. Because all he has is shock gloves, and yes, he's in a metal suit. I'm not going to lie, Batman can easily handle somebody in a metal suit. He's done it before. Now we get up a little higher on the list. Now we're getting into territory, say for example, Taskmaster. I'm gonna say Taskmaster for me is mid difficulty because they are both martial artists. They'll be at it for hours, and Taskmaster will be going back and forth trying to analyze his move. So I have to say between high or mid difficulty for Batman because he's like Deathstroke in a way, but you know, with that memory thing.
Photographic memory.
Yeah, photographic memory. Thank you, by the way. Who else is on this list? Kingpin already. Just because he's such a big guy, like I want to say Batman has a tough time, but he's dealt with people like Bane, so I'm gonna say mid because you know Kingpin is Kingpin, and this fool does know a few martial arts if you read the comic books, specifically Daredevil.
I was going to mention about Bane on that level because him and Kingpin are pretty much on the same par.
True, but the difference between the two, you know, Kingpin can't amp up his size and strength like Bane does. Bane does it on a constant basis, and like as he gets stronger, Batman has to go from physical strength to using tech. Even in Arkham Origins, he had to use tech, and he stopped using strength. Now, we get up a little higher. Let's say Rhino, for example. I'm sorry, Batman's getting bodied. Because that suit is stuck on Rhino, and I admit Rhino is a little dumb, but you realize half the fights Batman has in the very beginning, he has to fight you, possibly lose, and come back later to figure out how to beat you, or stop like mid-fight because of an altercation or a circumstance, and then figure out how to beat you. So in order for him to beat you, he has to fail. So we get to like the core. What's the core 6 of Spider-Man PS4? Or 7? We have Rhino, Rhino, Vulture, Electro.
Just say Sinister Six.
Yeah, but I'm being fair. So Rhino, Vulture, Electro, Scorpion. I feel like it's going to probably be the hardest. Martin Lee and Doc Ock. Them are the big 6 or 7 of this entire game that's going to give him a hard time. Is there... Silver Sable's like mid. She's like Shiva in my opinion, but at the same time I feel like she could probably whoop his ass too.
Let's get back to the characters inside the Spider-Man game.
Now say if Spider-Man switched to Gotham, in my opinion he's dealing with Penguin, Two-Face, Poison Ivy. I'm gonna also throw in the DLC characters, so I might as well go back to Batman in a minute. But if that's the case, we have, let's see, Penguin, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Riddler. You have Arkham Knight himself. You have the Scarecrow. You have Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, Mad Hatter, and you have a psychopathic killer, and I believe his name is Pig, and then Deathstroke, along with Man-Bat. Most of them villains Spider-Man can easily take on just fist alone. Now I'm back on the DLC characters for Batman. The Magia Dons, I don't want to say really they're not a problem because Batman deals already with, Falcone, the Carmines, all of them. He deals with them all the time, so that ain't really a problem. But that mechanized suit, I'm gonna say 50-50. But for Spider-Man, half of that roster he's already murking. I'm just being fair, and I forgot Harley Quinn. My bad, sorry, but he's already beaten Two-Face, hands down. He's beaten Penguin, hands down. I think he would try to help both Man-Bat and Mr. Freeze. He's beaten Man-Bat first, but he's going to help find a cure or at least find a way to help them. I know Peter has a heart, so him, in between Nora and Mr. Freeze, I think he would find some compassion between the two of them and just leave them alone. Just as long as they don't kill anybody, he's going to leave them alone. With Batman, he ain't going to leave them alone, so fair. Killer Croc, I really do feel Spider-Man would have such empathy for Killer Croc. He wouldn't even feel like fighting him. That man has been a victim all his life. Seriously, he even broke down in the middle of a fight. I remember with Batman, and he was like, "Why does this keep happening? I'm a victim myself." Just because he looks like a crocodile is the reason why people kind of get afraid of him. They pick at him. Shoot. And the TV show, he was predicted more of a murderer.
And besides, I think Killer Croc would give him the weaponness of the Lizard / Dr. Kirk.
I want to say the Lizard is equivalent to Killer Croc in my opinion, but it's their stories that change it up for me. So that's why I say Spider-Man will find some empathy for Killer Croc. This is going to be an interesting take, but I think Ra's al Ghul would find him so fascinating that he would want to train him. And then that would lead to him making his own martial arts like he did in the Marvel comic books. Because there is a martial arts Spider-Man made called Spider Fu, and I believe he made it in Kunlun with Iron Fist. Yes, it's in the multiverse. It's in the Spider-Verse. Check it out. I advise you to. He's possibly murking Mad Hatter. Just because, you know what? Nah, he's not murking him, but he's beating him. He's beating the Riddler. He might have fun with Harley Quinn. I feel like he would find an interest such in Harley Quinn because she's like, in a way, like a backwards black cat. So I'm like, cool. He'd probably find Catwoman very interesting, too. He would be 50-50 about Poison Ivy. I don't really think he's like horrible with plants and life and everything. He's a scientist at heart, and he knows she is too. I think he would when he encounters her. Deathstroke, ooh, that was kind of hard. I'm gonna say Deathstroke is probably like high mid difficulty for him because Deathstroke alone has taken on the entire Justice League and won. But you see him in Arkham, he's driving a tank. Mind you, Spider-Man lifts tanks, so
and helicopters.
If he wanted to be that petty, he could literally just flip the tank over and just leave him there, just frustrated, angry after every second of him stuck in the tank.
If it actually pissed Spider-Man off long enough.
Oh, I bet he would when he starts blowing up cities and shooting people up with them tanks. He was doing it throughout all of Arkham Knight. Now, who else I said?
You mentioned Harley Quinn. You mentioned
Riddler. I think he would find. Did I mention Mad Hatter? Oh yeah, I did say you'd beat the Riddler, but I think he still have a little difficulty with that. Right. Arkham Knight. Ooh, I don't know because Jason's a murderer and a killer. Right, even right now, he's in between that stage. And for me, I love Jason Todd. I really do. Jason Todd is like that moral compass where you realize certain people really do deserve a bullet. Like, I've always agreed with him that Joker does deserve a bullet. And just recently, he put a bullet in Joker's head. Batman's pissed. And he's like, bro, why did you do that? How many times do you think I wanted to kill him? I didn't want to because he would always win. He was like, well, it's okay. You didn't do it, but I did. And plus, it made sense because he's killed me before. So I'm like, all right. Jason was speaking mighty facts, though.
Jason is definitely karma.
True. So I think Spider-Man would have a hard time fighting Jason if he learns about his backstory. He had a hard time with certain villains in the past when he found out their backstory, and he was trying to fight them. Like right now, Spider-Man 2 is about to come out in 3 months from the point of this video coming out. And he finds out about Harry being alive, about the cancer and stuff. And he's about to find out about Kurt Connors, about being the Lizard. I know when he finds out about their backstory, he's going to have a hard time because he knows he can help them. He knows he can try. With Batman, sometimes he tries, but other times he still lock him up even though certain stuff has happened to him. Because my favorite episode with Batman is the Heart of Ice episode. It will never change for me. Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain. because you can emphasize his reasoning every time he breaks out of prison is to save his wife. And it ain't never changed. The only time it did was the New 52, and I hated it because of that. I really did. Because then they said, oh, she was just some random woman who, fell in a block of ice, and he was just trying to restore her, and just kind of got obsessed with her over the years. I'm like, they did not just ruin my favorite Batman character.
Well, then again, that's the standard in current comics. I mean,
yeah, but the New 52 was the 2010s run. Like, now everything's changed because they hit you with the Rebirth, and they hit you with the Metal Universe, and all such and such. I'm still trying to keep up, but that version of Mr. Freeze was ruined for me. But for the TV show purposes, his reasoning was staggering, and I loved it. But now, even in the game, as a DLC character, his reasoning has never changed. And mind you, in Arkham City, he was the best boss in the game. You fought him once, but it was the way it played out. He was the best boss in Arkham City, and he was never used again until Arkham Knight as a DLC. And he was used in Arkham Origins as a DLC, which I love to death too. But Rocksteady didn't count that game as part of their franchise, even though it blended in very well. Mind you, if they were to fix that up, they would make a lot of money off that game, especially right now if they remastered it or redid it for PS5 sakes. I know I'm getting off topic, but I'm gonna get back on it. But Spider-Man in general will be beating half the cast already. And I mean, Scarecrow's toxin is easy for Spider-Man. He got poisoned in his own game, and he managed to figure that out while he was hallucinating. And yes, if you played the game, we've all played the same game. Spider-Man figured it out while he was hallucinating. He cured himself while he was hallucinating, and then he woke up naked in his own lab. Yes, he did it. Batman, it took him the whole game to figure out how to stop this darn cloud burst from blowing up and spreading Gotham with all the sphere toxin. And mind you, he did not stop it at first. It took him a while to stop it. He had to go to Poison Ivy to get some help, blah, 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 blah. We've all played the game.
I don't, not gonna lie. One thing I just realized, Spider-Man is pretty much the science geek. Batman is the detective geek.
Exactly. Spider-Man is a scientist. And throughout his whole game, we're doing science problems. We're solving problems. We're fixing mechanics. We're changing mechanics. We're even changing I ain't gonna say genetic coding, my bad. We're changing chemicals while we're at it. Because remember, you saw how Doc Ock was releasing the chemicals in New York, in the middle of it, in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. It's still playing.
I know it's still playing, but
I'm just saying. But yeah, he released all of it, and it didn't take Spider-Man long to analyze it, try to synthesize it, and then find out where it originated from. It didn't take him long at all. It would have took Batman about 30 minutes. It took Spider-Man 10, maybe less.
I think it took Batman at least an hour. Not gonna lie.
Maybe, because if that was the case, the whole game, it was probably pointless. Now, mind you, I ain't shooting the game. I love the game. I will forever love Batman Arkham series. I do. But you're telling me, I'm being asked nicely to talk about it from my point of view. So let's jump back to Batman. What's the main purpose of Spider-Man's game? It's to still protect New York, but stuff is happening in between. Now, already, like I said, he can handle Shocker. He can handle Kingpin. He cannot handle Rhino. I'm sorry. He ain't even getting the Scorpion, in my opinion. Scorpion, the reason why I say that, he doesn't have martial arts. Scorpion don't have martial arts. But it's the tail. It's the poison. Batman won't figure that out till probably like the last second. And I hate to say it. Mind you, he's also very limited of tech. He has nothing but Batarangs, Bat Grapple, Bat Shocker. Everything you see with tech that he has in Batman Arkham Knight, that's all he got. He don't have the Batmobile, though. He doesn't have anything from the cave. He don't have nothing. Wayne Tech does not exist. So none of his stuff he's getting. He's have to figure it out on his own. So if you want me to be frank with y'all, he's beating Shocker. He's beating Kingpin. He ain't beating Rhino. He ain't beating Scorpion. He sure damn hell ain't beating Electro. Let's just put it 100. I don't even know about Vulture. He might actually win with Vulture just because he's an old man using, like, basically Falcon's tech, if you want to be frank with myself. He is not beating Martin Lee. Martin Lee has that negative shit. He ain't beating him. I'm sorry. And then if you get to Doc Ock is the reason most of this stuff is going on anyway, and it happened underneath Peter's nose. Mind you, I know it was after the neural interface. I do agree with that. But the fact that this stuff is still happening in between times, and he had a whole hand into it, under Peter's nose, yes.
Although I just realized another thing. when it comes to Peter, it's like a 24/7 type of job. When it comes to Batman, I've noticed recently, especially in the games, mostly happen during the night.
And I'm gonna say Peter, at night and day. Batman is strictly night, and Bruce Wayne is during Bruce Wayne is during the day. Now, I'm not trying to shoot them because of their dynamics. I'm not gonna say that, but for me, what gets me about this game, Spider-Man is everywhere. Just in general, he's everywhere. And even as Spider-Man or Peter Parker, he's everywhere, inadvertently. And don't get me wrong, yes, they both have allies. Their allies ain't here, by the way. Let's just go ahead and keep that out there and throw that 100. I know somebody gonna throw them up. Look, Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood, Robin, Alfred.
Red Robin?
Same person.
No.
Yeah, because the Robin in Arkham series is Tim Drake. Red Robin is Tim Drake. No, you're good. And then the Commissioner Gordon, none of his allies are here. Same goes for Spider-Man. Miles ain't here. Mary Jane ain't here. Black Cat ain't here. If Gwen Stacy's in this universe, she ain't here. And Yuri is not here. So they're all literally where they're supposed to be. So I'm just keeping that 100. Batman ain't beating at least 2 of these he can beat. The rest he ain't beating. That's in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Do you elaborate Doc Ock able to be Batman?
Oh, my bad. I forgot about that part. Doc Ock has 4 tentacles that he's made with Peter. Both of them are darn near made of steel titanium, whichever one. I think they're titanium mesh. I can't remember. I know it's enough to pierce Iron Man's armor if they were to give it a go. Because if Peter can make it, I bet it'd be on par with Iron Man. And look, the Avengers do exist in this universe. He's mentioned it. Look, the Avengers exist. Daredevil exists. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, the X. Well, did he mention the X-Men? No, he didn't. X-Men. So all these other superheroes exist, but they're not here. They're not here.
Not gonna lie. If you met Iron Man, do you know how much money throwing they're gonna have?
True, but you know Peter ain't for the money. He just do it because of
I'm
science.
talking about Batman, Iron Man. Man.
Oh no, they're gonna go head to head. But anywho, back on topic. For me, Batman cannot beat majority of Spider-Man's villains. Spider-Man, however, can beat majority of Batman's villains. And I won't lie, if the Joker was alive, I'm gonna just keep it 100. If the Joker was alive in Arkham Knight, Peter would have been a murderer. Hence why I said that in the beginning. But I keep forgetting in Arkham Knight, the Joker is a hallucination. Nobody else can see him but Batman. It's all in his head.
I don't, not gonna lie. Like we all said, Peter has limits.
Oh, Peter has limits. I'm sorry. Peter has holy limits, and he's only been pushed very little time. And anytime he's ever accidentally used his strength, it was so unintended. There are times he even fights Wolverine, and he fights him with only 50%. He knows Wolverine has a healing factor, but he tries not to go all out because he knows that there are other people around when they fight. So he never fights Wolverine at 100. Wolverine is fighting at him at 100, no matter what it is. Wolverine's been around for centuries. Well, I'm gonna say centuries, because he's been around like 2 or 3. So he don't care. He really does not care. Same thing goes with the Hulk. Same thing goes with Iron Man, Captain America, all these people he's ever fought. He never fights them at 100%. And the last time I remember him, like Peter Parker, going like that little high was when Doc Ock took over his mind in Superior Spider-Man run. He used about 15% and he knocked off a villain's jaw by mistake. He didn't knock it all the way. I was trying to get to that. He dislocated his jaw. He wasn't even trying to put that much force. He even himself said, I wasn't even aiming to put that much force. And he did it anyway. And then he was like, dang. So the whole time Peter was fighting me, he ain't never used 100%. He was like, oh my God. He was like, I could have died. He's like, what? This kid has that much power and he ain't never used 100? Now, see, that's crazy, right? Mind you, we've already stated, Peter can lift tanks. He can lift cars. He's even been seen holding up half a skyscraper. Half of it.
Don't forget about the helicopter.
Yeah, I want to say, even in the game, he brings up a whole helicopter. Look, he can already lift 50 tons above his head. Just be frank about it. The proportionate strength of a spider. So, Peter already best 95% of all the Batman villains. Like I said, in my opinion, the hardest villain he's probably going to have a hard time with is Ra's al Ghul. That's it. He can't really be killed. However, if Peter goes by the story in Arkham Knight, where Ra's al Ghul is like half dead, looking zombie-like, and the Lazarus Pit ain't working for him anymore, and he finds out what he did, he'd be at a crossroads just like Batman, because the Uncle Ben thing would still be with him. With great power must come great responsibility, but you have to think about it. He's immortal. He has murdered hundreds of people over the centuries he's been alive, and includes Gotham. Ra's al Ghul has said he's been in Gotham before, and killed a lot of people, destroyed the economy and the entire city itself numerous of times. So if I was Spider-Man, and I bet if he was, he'd probably have to think about that, and that'd be the biggest decision he'll ever have to make. Because you have to make your choice. Would you want him to die a regular death, or do you want to give him the serum so he can live? Because because if he dies, it means in a way you killed him. That's what he'd be at a crossroads. Same what Batman was doing. So like I said, Ra's al Ghul is going to be the hardest villain beyond Deathstroke. Like I said, with Deathstroke, it just depends, because he's in a tank majority of the game. And a lot of us fans of Batman were really mad because we thought we were going to get that same fight with Arkham Origins like we did. But no. But you see why more fans favor Arkham Origins, just because of that one fight alone. So, it is what it is. And when it comes to, the terror of the game, I don't know. Because I know Spider-Man could analyze the entire fear toxin, figure out how to beat all that, and such and such and such, because he's a scientist at heart. I think, like I said before, Batman would take too long trying to figure out how to stop Doc Ock. Doc Ock also is very strategized. He's the strategist of the team, to be fair. Out of the entire Sinister Six, he is the strategist.
I don't, not gonna lie, that nigga got jumped, so I kind of figured that shit out from a mile away.
Who?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he got jumped.
Yeah,
he got jumped. But I want to say, he's taking on them one at a time. He's also taking them on two at a time. Because you remember, he was still getting jumped midway through the game.
Oh no, let's forget the fact that he also got a couple broken bones and bruises, and
they said he had 14 broken bones, and he said straight up that he had 119 left unbroken bones. Don't worry, him and Batman are darn near on the same when it comes to willpower, but for the sake of the game, just villains, just the villains.
Just keep in mind, Batman is a human with tech. Spider-Man is an enhanced human with tech.
Yeah, that does kind of just lay it down. But for me, and I know for most people, Spider-Man PS4 would either beat or murder half, or in this case 95% of Batman's rogues, while Batman would only beat 2.
I'm not gonna lie, I think Spider-Man 2 will have this discussion a lot more longer than we thought.
Oh yeah, but especially now, because now Arkham Knight is getting remastered for the Nintendo. Before, it was never on Nintendo. And also, like you just said, Spider-Man 2 is coming out. And guess who else is coming in the game? Wraith. Yuri Watanabe's Wraith. I wasn't going to include her in this game because she's still Captain Watanabe. She's not fully Wraith. Yes, she murdered a couple of people, but she was never in uniform. And on second, we never seen her do it. We just find murdered bodies. Like, basically like in Batman, where you would find the dead bodies and all this stuff hanging, playing music. So I never counted them. I didn't want to.
But still, like we said, Batman will get bodied.
Yep, Batman is getting bodied. If you got a problem with what we said, feel free to tell me your point of view in the comment section below. And on top of all that, y'all, I don't mind talking at all about the situation. Because, look, I bet I'm going to do more what-ifs just because. This was a request from my brother. And I'm doing this gladly and happily. Because, look, I love Batman. But even I know he is not the best in DC. He is the best strategist, yes. But in my opinion, which it has changed over time because I used to be a little naive about it before. In my opinion, in the Bat family, Nightwing is the best. Let's just be frank about it. Even Batman has said it himself. Nightwing is the best, and there is nobody who can change my mind about it. He's always been my favorite Batman character throughout the Batman mythos. He's been my favorite Teen Titans member beyond the 5 I choose, which is Nightwing, Dick Grayson, Robin, Raven, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Cyborg. Them 5 are my favorite, but Nightwing was always number 1.
I'm not gonna lie, what brought me to this attention because it came Green Lion from TikTok.
Yeah, shout out to y'all, man. I love y'all, man. We fans.
I'm not gonna lie, Batman Dick Riders get on my nerves, basically.
I know, that's why I hate TikTok. I just watch. I don't make TikTok just because of that. I just make YouTube because guess what? You can't ban nobody for speaking stuff on YouTube. Hence why I thought it was smart for King Lion using a TikTok, a YouTube, and a Twitter. And I follow him on all three of them platforms. He got an Instagram and Facebook.
You got Twitter?
Yes. I made you want to. Don't freak out.
Wait.
Chill. Later. Talk about later. Anywho. If y'all can tell me what his Facebook and Instagram is, send it to me because I already got it on the other platform. And if he got a Snapchat, send it to me too. Just being fair. But because of them, I felt like as a fellow nerd, I could talk about it. But you know, it's a weird day. It's a weird day and age we live in. You can't have a nice conversation no more about comic book characters and like verses or what ifs or possible interactions. So it was very smart of Lion to put most of his stuff on YouTube, and I support him 100%. And he made me kind of look at things in a different light. Half the reason I'm doing YouTube in the first place. So I don't care if y'all Batman dick riders want to come holler at us. We'll be right here. I got books on my bookshelf. I have most of the Batman books from the previous runs and the present day runs right now at my disposal, and I surely have a ton of Spider-Man books because I've been a Spider-Man fan since I was born, and I mean that. My dad showed me Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire when I was 4 years old, and it only had the first two movies came out. I didn't see Spider-Man 3 till I was 7.
I don't, not gonna lie. He really is a Spider-Man fan. I mean, I lost count how many comics books.
Now, don't get me wrong. I got Batman collectibles and everything, and most of it in the Bat family. But
you even got the Batmobile collectible.
Yes, because I love the Batman TV show from 1992 with Kevin Conroy. That will be my favorite Batman show. But this is strictly for these two characters in these games. And I love both of these games. Both of these games sold copies worldwide. They did a lot for gamers like me. They set the tone for superhero game. Look, Batman was the first game launched on the PS4 and the Xbox One, I believe. It was the first superhero one at that.
I think it's Xbox?
No, it was first one on Xbox One and PS4 because at the time they were new gen consoles. This is back when I was still in middle school and high school. And this was the most popular game out at the time. And they were still releasing stuff, and they stopped releasing stuff, I believe, around 2015, 16, 17, one of them 3 years. Spider-Man came out in 2018, which was the best game at the time on the PS4 other than God of War. So both of them sold handsomely. Both of them made like green flags in the superhero genre. Now they're also the pinnacles of the superhero genre. Because look what happened in the past couple of years. We had got the Avengers game. It was okay the first couple of weeks until they started releasing stuff constantly. And then it was like, It was like fan service. It was like watching Prison School, but in my fingertips. Then we got to Guardians of the Galaxy, which is very underrated, by the way. Please go find the game and play it. I invite you to. So, and then, shoot, what else came out? And then we got Miles, the sequel to the game, which sadly, in my opinion, was very, very short. I really wish it was a little longer, or they should have thrown him some DLC. But in all, I love the game. I love the combat play. And then now we're getting the sequel to Spider-Man 2 and sequel to Spider-Man and Miles Morales. And then we just got so much Spider-Man stuff in the past 2 years, it's not even funny. And then right now they're thinking about releasing a Gwen Stacy movie, like for Spider-Gwen, her own movie. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully the animation's crisp, just like the previous two movies with Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse.
Just say Spider-Verse.
Whatever. But, in conclusion, Batman is dying, or he's just going to get beat so badly he might have to go home.
Although I like to add more to that, based on their fire styles, Batman more likely just stays on the ground half of the time. And they're both strategists when it comes to combat, but in 2, Spider-Man move around a lot more, therefore able to outrun or confuse his opponents. Compared to Batman, he's more likely to just beat them down or use an agility to dodge an attack and just beat them down. That's
the problem with Batman. He's fought his villains so many times, he's become predictable, versus Spider-Man always fighting his villains, he's always unpredictable.
Thank you for pointing that out, because Batman's more likely the boxer type of fighter, kickboxer.
He come off like a kickboxer, and then before he starts boxing, he always comes off as a ninja. Because you notice he comes in with stealth, and then when it gets to that point, he'll get the boxing. He don't use stealth often. If anybody does in the Bat family, it's really Nightwing or Red Robin. Damien don't always use stealth either. Him and Jason never like to use stealth. They like full on assault. Spider-Man, he'll use stealth when the convenient gets going, but when he has enough evidence of what he needs to do when he do Dex, he got enough. He's good, so he don't mind a front on assault. So he would use stealth first.
So like we both said, Batman became unpredictable, while Spider-Man is basically adaptable.
Unpredictable, but he is adaptable though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Batman can too. It just takes a minute on the environment. Because think about it, and throughout all of Arkham Knight, he's all over Gotham. He's adapting as he goes. He's noticing how the surroundings are. Like for example, in Ace Chemicals, you notice how he was using a sonar batarang or like a sky satellite batarang to figure out which part of Ace Chemicals has people, so he can save them, and which ones don't. Like Spider-Man does in his actual mask, he can sense the entire environment. So that I think him and Batman got the same thing, but Spider-Man is such on a different level.
And another thing I like to point out, their suits. Even though Batman cape is a reason why, because he's able to glide, it's just the fact that his suit is basically heavily armored.
No capes. I had to say it just once. No capes, because every time he gets in a fight, and this happened even in the movie, they snatch the nuts out of the freaking cape. I love Batman, but I just want to see one Batman suit that don't involve a cape.
Besides, Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond is different. Plus, he deserve a movie by now, but it's okay.
And here, like I tried to say, his armor is basically heavy base. Even though, as for the protection wise and gliding wise, it's such a chase to find his armor is very heavily armored. On the tech that he had to carry, and basically had to be Bluetooth around his suit, it's no wonder why he's a bit slow. It became a bit basically predictable. As for Spider-Man, it's literally skin tight suit.
Yep. It is mildly skin tight. And then in this universe, Spider-Man's made two other suits. He has the advanced suit, and then he has the tech advanced suit. I don't like the tech advanced as much because of the color and the style, but he still has it. He still owns it. Even in the lab, he still owns it. He never threw it out.
And considering that factor, it makes his suit a little bit more breathable, therefore able to move a lot more faster and have more agility outside town.
True.
Compared to Batman, I mean, look at his gauntlets. That shit look heavy.
I like how you said that on point as he's interrogating this guy, knowing what's going on. Now, what makes it worse too, this particular suit right here, even on the screen, I think this is the one where he can't turn his head. He has to turn his entire body. If he does turn his head, then I can't say a word right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, he can turn his head. I forgot. Okay, cool.
Just not fast enough to the point that there's a chance that someone's behind him.
Yeah, because I think when the moment he started cheating to turn his head, I think that was when he finally got a little practical about it, because he used to have such a stiff cowl. Even in Arkham City, he had a stiff cowl. In Arkham Asylum, he really had a stiff cowl. When he cheated, I believe in either not Arkham Origins, because it was still stiff. In Arkham Knight, when he got his advanced suit, he was still he could turn his head. So I'm like, okay, cool. It made more sense.
Also, speaking of tech, he usually go to Batarang, but half the time he also go with the Batmobile.
True.
Or a tank.
True. That's why I say all his tech don't exist. So he's really gonna get hurt, because he uses a lot of his tech for villains.
And compared to Spider-Man, he mostly just swing. If you actually got it right, it's pretty much for an emergency, like for example, going outside of New York.
Yeah, and here's my thing. I don't know if you remember seeing this, because I played all of Arkham so many times. But if you remember in Arkham Asylum, he used his own Batmobile to hit Bane because he couldn't beat him. He had to use his car to beat Bane. And even in Arkham City, they referenced it. He was like, bro, I remember seeing you at the wrapped around the hood of my car. I'm like, damn. That sounds so gangster to say.
Although, let's not forget the fact that I know it's out of the game range what we're seeing right now. But back in the Justice Universe, games, do you remember the fact that his brutality / super move, he always used either the Batmobile or the Batplane?
Yes, I remember. Because, he used the Batwing in the second one, and in the first one he kept using the Batmobile. And then you have to remember, too, in both of those games, you had the Batcave, so you were still using all the Batman's tech.
So, in 2, he had to use his tech in order to defeat his enemy during the super move. So, As for Spider-Man, even though he mostly got his solo games, doesn't change the fact that he beat his opponents to the pulp, hands and feet, and barely any tip except he's been overwhelmed. But
True.
either way,
True. And then on top of that, out of the 7 or 6 villains that Spider-Man has in the game, not really one of them have any martial arts prowess except Martin Lee. And then on top of that, Martin Lee has powers on top of that. So that's really kind of bad to be fighting that man. Knowing he also has a Jin, which is Chinese for a sword or a type of sword. If y'all didn't know that, you're welcome. And if I said that wrong, please tell me, because I like to learn languages.
also, one thing for sure, if you're going to point that out, he able to beat Superman, it's because he got prep time.
I want to say prep time is not going to save him in this game. I'm sorry. I just already said, too, he has to fight you first to figure out how to beat you. Now, I get it. Certain people are easy on the first day. Like, a lot of people will, like, dog walk Green Arrow because Green Arrow is basically Batman with the bow, and every time they meet and they fight, Green Arrow loses. That's wholly different. But we have people with amped up abilities in this game. They have amped up tech in this game. Now, don't get me wrong. Batman could probably find a place to hang out, lay low, and figure out how to make tech out of something. But as I'm looking at it right now, he's thrown in the middle of the game. In my opinion, it's like MCU, how they just transferred everybody over. It's through magic or something. He just randomly pops up in Spider-Man's game and Batman in the same and vice versa. So I'm imagining Spider-Man trying to analyze the situation or what's going on. Because the first thing I can see Spider-Man doing is going to the police station in this city. GCPD. And Batman, he ain't going to no police if he don't trust them. So if he just end up somewhere random, he ain't going to the police. He's just going to ask somebody random as Bruce Wayne, where am I at? And they'll tell him where he is. That's what I see it. That's how I see it.
Although you be transferred to that universe, you know how hard it is for him to actually put on the damn suit.
Exactly. So, and that's where I'm leaving it. Batman is going to have such a hard time in Spider-Man's game. Spider-Man will probably have it and like dog walk half his villain. Some of them he might even befriend just to befriend. I'm just being frank about it.
And actually help them instead of put them in the Arkham Asylum.
Exactly. I don't think he's going to throw them in a darn madhouse like Batman does with majority of his villains. I think he'll probably try and help each one because, like we have stated, he is a scientist at heart. This man, in almost every iteration you see him in, he's always doing something tech savvy while he's also a photographer.
Like, for example, right now.
I want to say right now, look, he got a tank. He ain't having that in Spider-Man's game. Spider-Man ain't even got access to most of his tech, but he'll be fine because he can just remake it. He can always find somewhere to make his stuff. He can make web fluid out of toothpaste.
I don't not gonna lie, without the tag, even with the bulletproof armor he got, his face is still exposed.
I want to say his face is always exposed, so
Yeah.
they can figure it out. Plus, the moment Martin Lee touches him, that's it. It don't have to be just his face. Martin Lee touches him in general. Batman is so dark, he gonna pull out his negative side and try to have him fight himself. But like I said before, that's what I think. Because I can also see like the story shifting directly to Spider-Man's favor the moment Ra's al Ghul come up. Because mind you, what's her name?
Talia?
No, not Talia. Her sister. I'm trying to remember.
She has a sister?
She has a sister. She's in this game, and I forgot her name already. And she's amazing in this game. But her sister would probably like Spider-Man because of his sense of justice, and it would probably remind her of Bruce. Because he doesn't like to give up. Spider-Man really don't like to give up. So I can imagine her trying to befriend Peter or trying to be partners with Peter. I'm just trying to remember her damn name. If anybody remembers Talia's sister's name, please let me know. I want to say Tula, but I feel like that's way too on the nose. And on secondly, that sounds just out of the box. Matter of fact, hand me this. Hold on. I know how to figure this out.
Why are you on YouTube? You can't just use the freaking Google.
Because YouTube is faster. Okay, all of them say meeting Talia's sister, but none of them even say her name.
That's why I say use Google.
Wait a second. I'm about to find out. Nissa! Oh my god! How did I mess that up? She was even in the Arrow TV show. God, I feel bad.
Okay, so Rachel basically was like my first daughter, Talia, the most beautiful and all. And then the second daughter came out. He said, "Oh, Nessa." That's what I'm gonna came up with.
Wow. Anywho, that's where I'm gonna leave it. Batman is going to possibly die or get beaten very, very badly. Spider-Man, if the Joker was alive, would have became a murderer. But in this game alone, since he ain't there, and I forgot about that, he's either beating most of his villains, like most of Batman's villains, or befriending them and letting them go. And yes, he has done that before.
Although, another thing I like to add on, difference between the teams. You know his reaction when Batman got into that universe. He ain't going to go to the Avengers.
No, you realize? Okay, let's just make this clear. Batman has always wanted to be a loner, and he set that standard highly. And then Spider-Man, Stan Lee made him a loner on purpose. He made that specifically clear for him and Daredevil because he loved them characters so much. They just seem better as loners versus being on a team. But if the team calls, he'll come.
Yeah, exactly. And if the Justice League actually asked Spider-Man if he needed help, he'd be like, okay, I'll help.
I'm going to probably do a vid on that later because somebody also asked me, what do you think about Spider-Man, Nightwing, and Mark from Invincible teaming up together? Man, I call that the chill trio in my opinion, but I'm going to do a vid on that later. But for now, this is where we leave it. This is our opinion on the situation. If you don't agree with it, it's cool. If you do agree with it, tell us what you think might happen. If
Just don't harass us. That's all we're asking.
I'm not going to ask for that because I feel like I'm going to get harassed for that regardless.
Okay, don't harass us. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, that's what she's asking. I'm going to honor that. So if y'all feel like talking in a calmly manner, we'll do it. If you don't, well, you heard the lady. I'm not fighting no more, no less. So, with that said, we'll catch you guys on the flip side, and we're out.
See ya.